Hello, welcome to the Data Channel, and you are watching SQL Bootcamp for Data Professionals. As part of the topic 3, so we are presenting a new video that is related to data control language. So what we call it is a DCL. Basically, in the previous video, we have seen um, DML and DDL. So DDL is nothing but how do you define the data definition language, and DML is data manipulation language. So now we are seeing about data control language. So as the name suggests, it's about the controlling, who controls what kind of data, what level of control is there for a user, so different kind of users. So that entire thing is driven by the data control language, and there are series of like the major commands that we see is grant and revoke. So that we will see in this video in much more detail. So if you are new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So DCL, as we were discussing, it is about two commands mainly, which is grant and revoke. So when we are talking about uh, like data control language, in SQL, so these are used to manage the access and permissions to the data in the database. So DCL primarily includes grant and revoke commands, which are used to give the permission or remove the access rights or the privileges to the database objects. And the database object might be a table, view, stored procedures, anything for that matter, right? So what level of permission you want to give, and to what objects like tables, views, procedures, etc., right? And when it comes to grant, so grant command is used to provide specific users or a role which is with permission to perform certain actions on the database. This can basically include, you can grant access of selecting the data, inserting the data, updating the records, deleting the records, and even the administrative actions like creating and dropping the table themselves, right? So it can be any level, so starting from the admin to the read-only access, right? And you can give write access, read-write access. So it depends on what level of access a user is needed. So based on that, you will provide access for the user. And next is the where we kind of revoke the access, right? So revoke command removes previously granted privileges from the users or roles, because in the organization they might not be the part of the organization, or they might not be part of the project anymore, and as part of the cleanup procedure, so the access need to be revoked. So because of like data governance, so you should, the person who is not part of the project, or who is not supposed to be in any of in the project, so that person should not have access to any kind of tables or the data that he want to access, right? So it's always recommended, so there will be a revoke permissions you need to execute on the users, right? And again, revoke will be based on what kind of privileges. Is it a select privilege, insert privilege, or admin privilege? And on top of what object? Is it on a table, on a stored procedure, on a view, right? So it depends on those. You will be able to revoke the access, right? And quickly we will jump to the, and meanwhile, right? So as I said, the privileges is nothing but you have privileges like selection, insertion, updation, right? Deletion, execution. Like when it comes to the stored procedure, it's about execution, execute access also you need to have. So table doesn't have execution access, right? Table does have only select, insert, update, delete, and alter, drop also, and you can have create also. But execute is very specific to the stored procedures or functions for that matter, right? So that those are the privileges what you can think of. And based on what objects, so objects are nothing but the database objects like tables, views, and stored procedures, etc., right? So we will now quickly jump to the practicals. Let us see how exactly the grant and revoke permission works. Before that, so as you know, the grant or revoke will work on a particular person or a particular team that you are working for, right? So therefore that you need to have a login. So this login might be of a person, or it might be any Active Directory user or something like that, but you need to have that user here created. So here I'm creating a SQL object, that is a SQL username password. So this is a user and this is a password, and so then I will switch it to master database, and I'll create the user based on this. So this login is created, and after that login I'm creating the user. And basically if you see, I'm granting select permission on employee table to this person, right? So he can just select the tables, but he cannot insert, he cannot update, he cannot drop on the table, right? No other operations he can basically do. Suppose if we want to give the insert permission, so I need to run this insert command so that he get the insert permissions as well. So similarly, you can give update, you can give delete, right? And if you want to give the access for the stored procedure, execute stored procedure access, right? So basically there need to be a procedure. So I don't have procedure here, but if you have a stored procedure, you can execute this. So he will get the access to that executing the stored procedure. And similarly, you can give access for altering, dropping, and creating the tables or databases, right? So if you want to create, give him the access to create a database, right? So you can give grant create on database, my database to this person, right? So basically it is just a combination, permutation and combination. As you can see, grant is the keyword here, but after that, what level of privilege you want to give, whether it's the insert privilege, execute privilege, create privilege, and then after on you are giving the objects, whether it is a table, whether it is a stored procedure, whether it is a database, view, etc. Right? And so next you have something called as revoke. So revoke is also similar thing, right? So when you grant access, so you can also revoke the access. So it is just revoke insert on this person. So you are able to revoke the access. So you can even like grant multiple access if you are giving insert, and then you can give select, right? So you can give multiple access also and revoke the multiple access also similarly, right? So this is about granting a user. So suppose Joe is a person who is a user of this SQL, who is given access to the this particular database, which is a project database. He is a, say for example, he is a developer. Okay, so he needs, definitely needs, if it is a non-production, he definitely needs all kind of access, right? Read, write, execute, like all kind of access. So we will give that, grant that person access. But there is some other person who is joining the project, and he is just a kind of a doing operation of testing, where he actually doesn't need to have execute or update permission. So we can just give the select permission for that person. So that is how you control the access using this grant and revoke. So, and it is like a role based access control also. You can create like based on the roles, you can give the permissions to the individual teams or individual projects. So that is how this like data control language works, right? So grant is granting one or more privilege to user or role, and revoke is removing privileges, previously granted privileges for user or role. So it can be a user or role. That is why we can enable the role based access control also here, right? And yeah, again, this slightly might different, like science syntax might be different in if you go for PostgreSQL and MySQL, right? So, but the conceptually there is like it's everything is same, and the Oracle it is like it might be a little different, but conceptually the DCLs are nothing but it is basically to control the access, granular access on the object for a particular user or the role. So hope this video was useful, and if it is useful, I recommend you to please like, share, and subscribe, and also hit bell button for instant notifications. Thanks for watching.